Hello, namaste, and assalamu alaikum. This is me, Rhythm Sah. In the past few decades, if something has truly suffered, then that's Mother Earth, our environment. The greenhouse gases, the carbon emission, and all our activities have caused a great deal of damage to our lovely planet. Now, the thing we have to keep in mind is that we have not crossed the line where there is no going back. There are government authorities, different organizations, and a huge mass of people working towards this goal of sustaining the environment and having sustainable development. I had a talk with Layla Olefs from White, Green, Blue, Sustainable You, Belgium, on how we all can play a part in conserving the environment so that our future generations can see the planet as we see today and we all can lead a healthy and happy life. Let's hear from her. So, hello everybody, we have Layla Olefs from White, Green, Blue, Sustainable You with us today. So, before beginning with the questions, I'd like her to introduce White, Green, Blue, Sustainable You and herself.
Hi everyone, greetings from Belgium. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about White Green Blue Sustainable You. We are a family organization that started less than a year ago. So we are about mangrove restoration and conservation across the world. Currently, our projects are based in Mozambique, Madagascar, and Gambia, so all in Africa, because we found local partners and local communities who are equally passionate about mangroves there. Our main goal is to make the world a more sustainable place because I started this organization together with my dad and my younger brother. So my brother and I, we actually live in Canada, and my dad lives in Belgium. So he has to fly over a lot to see us, or we have to fly over here to see him. So that's a lot of travel, and that's a lot of polluting our atmosphere with carbon dioxide. And we all know that carbon dioxide is the main driver for climate change. So we decided, well, we need to be more sustainable. There must be a better way of doing this. So we went into some research and we concluded that mangroves are actually an absolutely amazing carbon sink. And we stuck to that. So we worked together with the locals, with other organizations, and that's where we're starting. And hopefully we'll build up to a more sustainable world in the future.
So now talking about environmental degradation, if we need to summarize that in a few numbers, what would those numbers be like, and what does that mean, and how is the whole environmental degradation scenario around the globe?
To really summarize that and put a specific number on anything would be really difficult, but to give you a few numbers, I would say we've lost approximately 40% of our global mangroves to date. We've lost about 50% of forests to date. We lost about 30% of the Great Barrier Reef in the coral bleaching in 2016. We dump approximately 22,000 tons of plastic into the ocean every single day. And we ingest about hundreds, maybe even thousands of plastic particles just by eating food and breathing the air. Approximately half of the world's population lives in an increasingly polluted atmosphere. And I think those numbers really speak for themselves. Those are absolutely huge numbers. We cannot go on and continue as we are doing right now. We have to make changes. That's why I say the environmental degradation that we are living in is something that we've done to ourselves, and we are now feeling the impacts through climate change and more extreme weather events like droughts, flooding, the Amazon reaching its tipping point. We stand to lose more than 90% of the world's coral reefs. So I would say that is quite a lot. Um, it's a bleak outlook, but there is a lot of hope because people's attitudes are changing, and we are seeing a lot of things happening and setting in movements, and just taking action, that we are really feeling the pressure now, and the world is shifting that way. So good and bad.
So White Green Blue Sustainable You has been working for quite a while now, and what course of action do you choose for environmental conservation at White Green Blue?
So my course of action through White Green Blue obviously would be mangroves, because they're 4 times more effective carbon sinks than tropical rainforests. And this is something we need to start considering, because the technologies to switch from our unsustainable way of living to a sustainable planet aren't existing yet, at least not at a very large scale that can be implemented easily by everyone. Of course, some people who have the money and have the resources, they can go and drive electric cars and electric airplanes. They're coming onto the market within the next 20 to 30 years. People can put solar panels on their roofs, but it's not really making a big dent in the emissions of greenhouse gases at this moment, because there's just billions of us on the planet and most of us can't afford to implement these current solutions. So we need to look at intermediate solutions that are available to everyone. And mangroves is one of them. They are a really hardy habitat that link the land and ocean. And supporting mangroves is also supporting coral reefs and rainforests and coastlines and local communities. So looking at nature-based solutions can do a lot more than looking at where technology can take us within the next 20 to 30 years, because we need to start acting now. And that is my standpoint from White, Green, Blue. And then personally, I'm also doing little things. So I like to encourage people to try out everything that they can do. So buying less of anything, just buy less, because that's something anyone can do. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what country you live in. If you just buy less of everything, you have a smaller impact. So in July, we have a plastic eco challenge going. It's organized by the North American Zoos, and that's something I participate in. So it would be very easy for anyone to participate. I can send you the link if you're interested. And you just try to use less plastic for an entire month, and you see how much plastic you're actually using on a daily basis. You keep track of those things and just daily actions, because the small things add up really quickly if there are millions of people who do them.
So the links Laila just mentioned would be available on the description. You can all go there, click on them, and play your part for environmental conservation. And now talking about white, green, blue, do you think the things you are doing right now are enough, or do you plan to incorporate more ideas, reach out to more people, and amplify the overall operation and expand it?
So mangroves are most definitely not enough. We need thousands of solutions, and that's something that White, Green, Blue alone will never be able to achieve. So it will always be in collaboration and cooperation with hundreds of others of organizations to really make that impact that the world needs to become sustainable. But what we can do is we want to expand into other habitats. So I'm a marine conservationist by training, and I'd like to expand into other marine coastal habitats. So seagrass, kelp forests, salt marshes, coral reefs, mostly because they're all really good carbon sinks, but they're also biodiversity hotspots. And when ecosystems and biodiversity are healthy, the nature is also healthy and it becomes more resilient, and people can rely on it more and sustain themselves as well. So that's more the direction we will head into in the future, as well as my brother. So his name is Steven. He's 20 years old and he's working on an app together with my other brother, Adna, and one of their friends. And it's aimed to be a sustainability calendar. So it will be little sustainability actions that everyone can take and do on their own without having to invest any money on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, depending on what you're comfortable with and what you can do. So that way, these are small steps that everyone can take, and we hope to bring that education and those resources forward for everyone to participate in.
Wow, that sounds great. We'll be definitely waiting for that app, and once it launches, we'll be sharing the links to the app on all of our communities so everybody can download and play our part. So now, talking about environmental conservation, the young citizens of the world play a very vital role in it. So, what do you think should be the starting actions from our side? What do you think should be the major things we all should be doing, and to ensure the overall conservation of the environment?
Absolutely. So I'd say I have three main points generally that I share with people who ask me that question. The first one is to take responsibility for ourselves. So we spend a lot of time, it doesn't matter what age you are, pointing our fingers at other people and blaming them. This is your fault, or it's that organization's fault, or it's that corporation, or it's that government. But it's time for us to take responsibility for ourselves and change our attitudes. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. We are in this situation now, and blaming people is not going to help us implement solutions, and it's not going to help us find new solutions. So it's better to just accept the fact that we are here, we are experiencing climate change, and we are experiencing environmental degradation, and we're experiencing it together. So the rule of youth is to forgive. I know a lot of young people feel really angry for the previous generations for destroying the planet. And the biggest part here is to really implement that anger into positive energy and action, and not hang on to it and be angry at other people, because nobody purposely destroys the planet for their children or the next generation. So we've learned from our mistakes, and it's now our turn to work together to implement the solutions that we have available and to come up with new solutions in the short term and in the long term. So that would be one. The second one is, don't feel pressured to become a scientist. Don't feel pressured to go into conservation or environmental studies. If that's not what you're passionate about, don't do it. Stick to your passions. If you are passionate about baking, well, then become a bakery, but source all of your ingredients from local farmers, from ethical farmers. If you're passionate about coding, work for corporations that are passionate about the environment and help them, like for White Blue, help us set up the app, for example. If you are really passionate about technology and energy, go into the green tech sector. If you want to become someone who stands for poverty, stand for poverty, because all of the world's issues are linked together. So play your part, and it doesn't have to be in conservation specifically. It doesn't have to be in environmental sciences. You don't have to become a scientist to make a difference. You can do it your way, and that is equally important and equally necessary for everything to happen as it should happen. And the third one would be, other than, changing your behaviors, like buying less things. If you really want that new phone, do you need it? Do we really need to have a new phone every 2 or 3 years? No, we don't. Do we really need to buy the newest cars or secondhand cars? Fine. What do you need? Can you take public transport? Do you even need a car? So it's really about that attitude and taking responsibility for our own actions, and just being the best that we can be every single day. And that definition is very different for any one of us on any given day. But just do your best, and then you spread that and are an example for other people, and other people will join. So stand by your values and act those out.
So before ending the video, is there a message you would like to give out to the viewers who are watching this? Because it's very important that we all stand for this cause, because it's very important, as we might not see the earth we see today in a few decades if we continue with our actions in this similar way, because the environment is degrading every single day.
Don't look at the negative side of everything. So when you follow the news, or even what I already spoke about, you see, we've lost 40% of our mangroves, 30% of the coral reef, the Great Barrier Reef. Sorry, we stand to lose 90% of the coral reefs. We lose more than half of our forests. It's okay, because there are hundreds and hundreds of organizations, thousands of organizations across the world doing what they can do to make this world a better place. If you go and talk to anyone outside, you will see how many people around you actually share your values. You're not in this alone. This is not a fight we cannot win. This is not something we've lost hope on. This is a transformation. It is a global transformation. And that process is always very difficult, but we're in it, and we can do this, and we will make it through. We just have to realize that it's going to be very difficult, and there will be a lot of pain along the way. Along the way, there will be a lot of degradation, but we can fix things if we work together. And that is what is happening right now, is people's attitudes are changing all over the world. Even in governments, you can see that Youth for Climate with Greta, for example, made huge impacts all over Europe and North America. I don't know if it's the same in Asia, but for us, our grocery stores, for example, don't have single-use plastic bags anymore. So those are small changes, but there's thousands of stores all across this country, and it's completely banned. So those are making very big differences. And 10, 15 years from now, you will see the impact of that. Just be patient and don't lose that motivation and that inspiration, and just keep on sharing, keep on talking about it, keep on doing what you can do, and stand by your values.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words, Laila. We all need to stand for this cause, because it's the place we live in, and if we don't preserve it, no one else will. And it's really important that we all play our parts. We don't need to devote everything we have for this. Even small actions matter, so we need to look at them as well. And just share this message, share this video with everybody and let's stand for environment. Let's preserve our environment, because no one else will if we don't. Thank you for watching the video.